Welcome to the Grief James podcast. My name is Sean Ram alongside Dr. Joshua Black and alongside our guest co-host, Jade Carling Black. Jade, it's awesome talking to you again after a long time. Seems like a long time.
Yes, it seems like a long time. I'm grateful to be here. Happy to be back on for this update episode and just looking forward to having a chat and letting the listeners know what I've been up to and what's going on in my world. So yeah, thanks for having me. I'm happy this worked out today.
Yeah, listeners are wondering where you've been. Where's that female voice they've come to love so much?
Aww.
Yeah, I know. So tell the listeners what's going on with you and maybe why you couldn't have come on as frequently as you did before.
Yeah, I've just been really busy with my own projects, work, and motherhood. So that's been eating up the majority of my time. And then when I have downtime, I just like to obviously relax and get some self-care in there. So my schedule's been very full, but I've been working a lot and writing a lot, and yeah, so that kind of explains my hiatus.
And so what's life like as a mom these days?
It's amazing. She's going to be 2 in July, so she's becoming a lot more independent, and I can see, more of a personality shaping. And so that's been really amazing to witness and be a part of. And just every stage has its own kind of challenges and, wonders about it and milestones. So it's been amazing, rewarding, and fun, and challenging on my behalf, and perhaps her too, because she's really learning how to, things that are safe to do and things that might not be safe to do, and she doesn't fully understand that concept. So she's fearless and inspiring in that way. So it's been great.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like to have those different stages, because you get so accustomed to them in a certain way. And then all of a sudden they're changing. They're walking around. You're like, no, wait.
I was actually just having a conversation with a coworker about that, and saying once you get your head around one stage, it just shifts so quickly, and then it's like, hold on, let me catch up, kind of thing. So yeah, it really keeps you on your toes and really just highlights change, and being okay with change, and being okay with that fast-paced nature of life and of growing up. And so yeah, there's a lot of lessons there. So
I know, where do you work right now, Jade?
I actually working on a contract with Stalo Nation, which is like a social service agency in Chilliwack, British Columbia. And so I'm doing a number of things through there. And actually my contract just got renewed, so I'll be there for another year, give or take, which is exciting and amazing. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
I think that's amazing because, of course, they're going to renew your contract. It's you.
Oh,
but,
thanks.
but on top of that, what have you learned from just that job and having to be away from River for so long? Like, I think, that in itself would be really hard for mothers as they sort of move forward. It's like that year they're together so much, and all of a sudden, like, they got to go back to work.
It's definitely a challenge, but it brings more balance to my life. So I think for me and my personality, and I like to work. I like to have, I like to feel balanced. And so, being away from her, I mean, like some days it's like, okay, I want to just stay home and be with her all day, which is, understandable. And then other days it's like, I need to work and have adult conversations, and be around adults, and that kind of feeds me. So it's a really good balance. And I mean, that's not for everybody. Like, each mom has to figure out what kind of jives with her and her personality, and her goal, her long-term goals, aside from being a mother. So I'm grateful to be able to go to work, and then you know and balance that out, and have the weekends with her. Like, I technically, I guess, work kind of sort of a 9 to 5. I mean, sometimes I go outside those hours, but for the most part I can expect that. So, and on top of that, just where I work is extremely family oriented, so they're just very supportive of motherhood and what that looks like, and what's required of me on that end and how important that is. So I appreciate that, because I know not every organization is that understanding. So it's great.
Yeah, that seems like it's really important to have is a workplace that understands you, and that's your number one priority, being a mother and to your daughter. And so if they can at least understand that, and then help you with policies that help you raise your daughter, I think that's great. And that's the type of company that I think I would like to work for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So it's really good. I found a sweet spot there. So it's working out right now, and kind of checking off all my boxes. So the stars have aligned, and I've ended up in a really good place that allows me to balance everything. So yeah, it's good. It's busy, but it's good.
So what I know, obviously, it's a tremendous job. You get a lot out of it, but it's also sometimes exhausting. What do you do to kind of relax? What's something Jade does?
Well, sleep. Sleep is a big part of it. And just taking time to after she goes to bed, relax. I don't know if that's watch a movie or documentary or journal, or like literally just go to sleep like really early, take a shower and go to bed at like 8:30, and so that's like, I love when I have the opportunity to do that, and just being mindful of what I need in order to be operating at my optimal. That, and then it's relaxing, like even to be with her on the weekends, and go to the park, or we like to go to there's like a garden nursery in my community, and it's a beautiful space. Like they sell flowers and all things kind of home and garden, and so we love to go there. It's huge, and walk through the greenhouses and look at all the plants and stuff, and they have really relaxing kind of classical music, so playing. So we like to go there on Saturday, and kind of do that. And it's just about finding balance. And then, sometimes you need just, a night out with, a few of your friends, and that kind of keeps me balanced as well. So it really depends on the week and what my schedule has looked like for the 5 days prior or whatever. And just making a point and a priority to squeeze in those self-care moments. And I can't stress that enough. It's so important. And I think a lot of moms too feel, they call it mom guilt or whatever, but feeling guilty about taking time for themselves or doing something that might seem really superficial, but it might be important to them. And that might look like going to get your nails done, or going to a movie, or I don't know, like it's different for every person, but just allowing yourself to set time for that is huge.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And it's great that you can even do some things with your daughter that help you relax, and I'm sure she enjoys it as well. Do you ever think about like do you ever think back of times when you didn't have your baby and were like, I could just do whatever I wanted?
Yes, I do. I think mainly, just having that option of like picking up and going, and like on a whim, and just grabbing like your car keys and in your purse, and then like out the door kind of thing. Like you don't need as much planning. With her, it's like
Right.
an hour to get out the door, because you need snacks and change of clothes and diaper, like everything, right? So everything has to be more, you have to be more organized and more articulate when planning any kind of outing. So, that's changed a lot. But I think, because it was a little older when I had kids too, that I had a lot of time to be, spontaneous. And so I don't feel like longing for that. It's
Mm.
like, I feel like, oh, you had your time to go wherever you wanted, whenever you wanted. And that was great. And now this is something different. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I feel that probably um, at a more mature age rather than having kids really young, I would
yes,
imagine if you had kids young, then it'd be like, oh, I'm missing out. All my girlfriends are partying and I'm here. But,
that's
you know,
right.
when you're an adult, it's more just like, and I think it makes you appreciate those things. You appreciate the simple things more because you can't do it all. So, just watching a movie after she sleeps is might be a lot better now than it was when you were like childless, because it's like back then it would have been just like, oh, whoa, what a boring night. I'm sitting watching a movie, but now it might be like, wow, this is amazing.
You couldn't be more right. That is so true. Or just like sitting in quiet, like in your living room, quiet, reading a book, or like
Yeah.
whatever, even scrolling through your phone and just like laying on the couch and like drinking a tea, or like doing a meditation in silence, or like any of those things. Yeah, those small things become big things, and you're so grateful for that quiet moment, and just grateful. So yeah, and I think that comes with not only motherhood, but just going through the spiritual journey and being humbled and being grateful. Then you realize it's not about always about these grand kind of gestures. It's just about those simple moments, and a lot of peace and quiet, or a home, or even a TV, or even the opportunity to even watch a movie is actually a blessing in itself, because there are people in different parts of the world that don't have that. So yeah, it's really counting your blessings and realizing, we have a lot of really good things going on that we take for granted, and good opportunities that we have that we take for granted, or we our expectations are almost can be, too high. So yeah.
So Jade, the big thing I want to sort of talk to you about is this new logo that you're finally a part of, and I've sort of wanted you to be a part of the logo for a while now, but wasn't time. And all of a sudden, bam! You see your face on a logo. What is it? What did that mean to you? And how did you feel?
Well, it's okay. First of all, it's amazing. Shout out to Martin. It's a really cool, creative thing. I love it. I think it's great. And, I mean, I've always felt a part of our team, and, we have a relationship, supportive relationship with, between the three of us, and that's great. And I always felt like, as much as I'm a part of it, it's still kind of your gig. So I feel completely included, and amazing that you guys would even want me on there, even though I'm not, well, I won't say I'm not as committed, but, not as available to kind of see it through. I mean, you guys have been doing this, since the beginning, and I kind of hop on and off as my schedule or resources allow, or whatever it is. But I love it. I love the image. I think it's cool. So yeah, thanks for including me, and just a really creative way to represent, the podcast and our relationship and stuff. So yeah. What do you guys think about the new logo?
I like it. I like it a lot. I had so when we were coming up with ideas for how to do the new logo, we like the old one, so we want to keep it kind of around that. Definitely wanted to include you into this one, and for myself, I had specific things. I was like, I don't really like the way my eyebrows are kind of in this picture. I look menacing. Can we soften those? And I was like, he didn't get my eye color right. They're a little lighter. Can we do with that? And I also wanted one without a hat, because I was like, I don't want everybody to think that's all I wear is hats. And he did it, which is amazing. And then he literally, I see the image. I'm like, wow, this guy did everything I asked for. And I look pretty good. I look better than I look in real life, which is great. So yeah, definitely. And yeah, it was really important to include you in here, because we definitely consider you our third member of the team. We like having you on, and all those episodes you've done in the past is really insightful and really great episodes. So just happy to have everybody together on one graphic.
So cool. And Josh,
Yeah,
what's your feedback?
I was shocked at how white I looked.
You are white. Yeah, you are quite
I am white.
pale in that photo.
Makes me want to go out in the sun.
Yeah, it's coming.
But it's very interesting, because at first I was like, oh, like I was so used to the old image, and then when I saw that, I was like, it took me a little while to finally get used to it. But then I'm like, wow, like I look like an adult in the image compared to the other one. And it's like Sean was saying, like he's not wearing a hat, like so he seemed more like an adult too.
Yeah.
Like we're all adults, and I think there's something beautiful about that, and like also the journey to get to that stage where it's like we've done 100 episodes. Here's a new logo with who we've become because of that, within that time frame. So at the end, I really enjoy it, and yeah, he did an amazing job.
It's dope. It's like one of those things. Like, how often in life can you get the chance to get yourself in a cartoon form?
Yeah.
Not many. Two,
No.
I
Not
guess.
many.
Soon we'll have our own cartoon.
What happens if we did a comic? That would be
Yeah.
cool.
Like a
Wouldn't
comic
that be
book.
cool?
Get
Yeah.
Martin. So Martin Dunn is the one who actually did this, and he's a real life comic book creator and storyteller. So yeah, it'd be amazing actually for him to let me do like a Grief Dreams comic book.
We should all have superpowers.
Ooh, what do you want, Sean?
I don't know. They should be related to what we do. So maybe like one of us is like an intuitive that we like feel through touch. The other one's like, you know, auras. I don't know.
Is that what we do?
No, I mean, like,
I don't know about you, Sean, but
I already have superpowers.
Do we feel through touch? No, we're not.
No,
doing
but I
that.
mean, like, we end up having conversations about stuff like that. I mean, like, we interview people who kind of do that.
So Sean wants to be Reiki master,
Crystal healer extraordinaire.
I would like my thing to be I could induce dreams. I'd be like the guy that can like induce a dream in someone, like before they come on the podcast.
How would you do it through touch?
No, through thought.
I'm gonna drug them.
My superpower would be psychic abilities, like to read people's minds. And it would be that because I feel like that would just really help my interviewing skills, because I would know I would just blow people away with the questions I would ask, because yeah.
Like when they don't want to go somewhere, you'd be like, you know that, and they're like, okay, and so you like foster sort of a sort of pathway so it gets there.
Well, that's called.
yeah.
I'm not a masochist. I don't want to hurt the people, but I just.
No, the Socratic method, but you get them to a place where like they kind of maybe need to go, or they want to sort of share something.
It.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be better in a psychotherapy setting. I don't know.
The comic.
But, see, I wouldn't tell them that I was. I would just surprise them. So there'd be a lot of mystery there, which you guys know I really like. So
it'd be like maybe rather than like trying to get their darkest secrets out in there, you'd be like looking at their thoughts and like what they hope you ask, and you'll bring that in.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds brilliant. Love it.
So what are we doing? Are we solving mysteries or grief dream mysteries?
Mysteries of all kinds.
Oh, I see. All right.
I was actually reading Daniel the other day from the Bible, and in the story, the king, I think it was Nebuchadnezzar, if I recall correctly. Anyways, he had this dream, and he didn't remember the dream, but he knew the dream impacted him. And so Daniel was the one who basically prayed, and then he got the understanding of the dream that the person had, they just couldn't remember. So that'd be kind of cool to like bring on people and then tell them dreams they had, but they just don't remember. That'd be kind of cool.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. And then maybe like live podcast, Sean can do some some feeling, some touch,
some readings. Yeah.
Or he could even take them back into the dream. That'd be cool. So like if they're like live, you take them back into the dream and you're a part of that dream
Inception.
with them. Oh, yeah,
I was
like
just gonna say
Inception.
this feels like Inception now.
Coming up with a new movie.
That's funny. I love it.
I love it too. Imagination is power. So that's to be able to conjure up some sort of imaginative comic book and it just really gets the creative brainwaves going. So I definitely like that.
And then so the big thing too, you weren't around for our 100th update episode. So what are your thoughts on getting to 100 episodes, Jade?
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. It's amazing. It really speaks to people are interested in this stuff. Like I'm like I don't know. I feel like we are, and that's fine, and like I knew that and everything, but I'm shocked in like how many guests reach out, or when you ask, guests or whatever, they're really enthusiastic to come on and like contribute. And the other surprising thing, I've had a few people kind of reach out to me that have said like nothing. It's been complete crickets the whole journey, and it's just been in the last like 3 weeks. And they're like, "Oh yeah, I've been listening to your podcast." I'm like, "What? You didn't say anything." So it's like, we never know who's listening. We never know who's interested, who hasn't spoke up, and people that is surprising to me, like, oh, you're interested in that, I would have never guessed. So that's cool. Like, we have a tribe, we have, and I feel like there's a lot more people than we're even aware of that are into the topic and have had grief dreams or interested in them, or whatever that looks like. So cool. And it also speaks to the beautiful situation that an idea, one simple idea, a light bulb going off, can manifest into this. And here we are, this much time later, and it's 100 episodes. I mean, it's great. It's so great.
Yeah, very well said. I feel the same way. One idea that you just believe in, and you go with it, and the hard part is just being consistent with it. And that we had difficulties in the beginning, but we got past that. There were the hurdles that we got over, and to now it's just a very consistent, regular part of our life. And it is funny, like, because again, like, a lot of your episodes are in the top 10, so there's a lot of people listening. But like, even the other day, I met someone, and they had mentioned the podcast, and they were talking about it, and they're like thanking me for doing it, and say that they listened to it. And I was just like, what? Like, I don't really, it's always surprising. And because again, you don't really, I didn't really, and I'm sure we're all the same, we didn't initially start this for fame. We didn't start it to be recognized. But it's a good feeling when you do get recognized for it, because you just feel like, okay, well, it's just, I'm on the right path, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's all, and you're absolutely right. Like, who really cares who buys in? I mean, we love doing this, and we love talking and connecting to people, and that's really important to us. And it's a healthy activity. It's a passion project. It's a way to spend your time. I mean, in my mind, there's a lot less constructive things we could be doing with our spare time. So I think it's a healthy outlet, not only for grief, but just constantly reminding you of, the human connection, and how powerful people are, and how resilient people are, and how it just takes you right back down to that kind of real raw place, that connects us all. And that's amazing. I mean, I want to do that regardless of if anyone's listening. So the fact that, yeah, you just have people like tuning in, and they're interested in it, it's so cool. 100
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think to have something positive and a positive energy that you're giving back to the universe, that you're putting out there. There can be a lot of negative stuff on social media. There's positive stuff too, but to add to the positivity by putting out the episode, and then whatever we do on social media, that feels like good work.
It is. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and this will be the 110th episode actually. So, man, it's just they're flying. The episodes are flying, and I also love the podcast because not only does it talk about grief dreams, which is just amazing in itself, but there's so much about just life that I think we don't really have those conversations with our friends sometimes, or just strangers or other people. And there's a lot of lessons we can use for ourselves as we try to figure out this world and how to approach it in a productive and healthy way. So there's just so many people that come on that you said like are resilient, and they went through some struggles, and they went through some, or they have some interesting careers, and what that's like for them. And I think all that stuff is helping people enjoy the show and make it more of a show. So it's not just the sadness of grief, but it's about the whole life, and that grief is just a part of the journey. It's not the whole journey.
Yeah, another thing I think is, just to on the path of personal development. I find that it's doing the podcast has made me a better speaker, maybe able to put my thoughts together a little bit more quicker than I used to in the past. And just being able to probe and have questions for other people ready. Listening's a huge part of being a host, and just having space for the guests to kind of fill in that void, and then you just bounce back off that. Yeah, it personally, like, in terms of like just speaking and personal development, it's brought a lot. And I think each episode is just that's just all practice. And I enjoy that part of it for sure.
So Jade, what's the one thing that you've gained, I guess, from it, in the sense of you're looking back at your first episode doing it to this episode when you're speaking on the podcast? Were you nervous to start? Like, was that something when you first came on? Was there nerves involved in that?
Not as much because I just hadn't written a book about my sex and cocaine addiction and released it into the world. So,
What book was that, by the way?
Quiet Mind, Open Heart. It
Great
was like,
read, by the way. Very great
thanks.
read. Yeah.
Thanks so much. So, yeah, there's things I would change about the book, I guess, but it's a moment in time. I mean, I wouldn't hold anything back, but just whatever. But that's another podcast. But, I think just releasing that into the world, it's like it's already out there. So I'm already humbled and everything and kind of cards are on the table. So it's like, okay, let's just, and yes, I'm not like used to being on a podcast and interviewing and stuff. So it was a new experience, but I don't think nervous or afraid. Um, I think I had already overcome a lot of those feelings, just in other situations before coming on the podcast. I think it was like episode 3 that I did so it was like right in the beginning. And I talked a lot. Like I remember going back and listening to that episode like maybe 6, 7 months after we released it. But yeah, like it's just I can see the growth in like Sean said, like listening. I'm a better listener. And just in my personal life, like the theme of discernment has come up a lot for me, really over the last 6 months, and really intensely over the last like 2 months. But so knowing what to say and when to listen and how we absorb, the thoughts and opinions and experiences of others and stuff has I think been heightened, and I'm more skilled in that area. So I think that's great. But it's hard to pinpoint all the changes. I mean, some of them are small or may seem a little bit more subtle, but they're definitely meaningful. And I'm sure if I go back and listen to this episode, after and compare it, then I'll see some subtle differences. I know I might not say as much, which is, I don't know, we can ask Sean if that's true, but
Yes.
see, I just said right there. But yeah, like this, just changes, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see the growth for sure. And that's mostly because I have to re-listen to these podcasts. I edit them, so I really like a microscope. I'm going second by second. And for sure, you've made leaps and bounds, and we all have for sure. And it's interesting going back to those episodes, like the early ones, and I feel so naive and almost like we just jumped into it and just did it. Like I think maybe that's why the nerves weren't there as much because we didn't really know what we were getting into. But uh, after that, and also, what helped for me was just doing it with someone else, doing it with Josh or doing it with you. I think I would have been more nervous doing it alone. Just trying to find my way through an interview would have taken longer, but I think doing it with other people, it's with those moments where you have a mind block or don't have a question ready or something. I just look towards Josh. He has something ready, so it's great.
Well, yeah, and then too, like we're better together than we are apart. And if we're going down and it fails miserably, like at least it's the three of us that are going down, and so we're all
Yeah.
embarrassed together, and it's a learning curve together. You know what I mean? Like you're absolutely right. If you're with somebody, it's like, okay, let's just try this. But that's the only way to figure it out too. Like it doesn't have to be perfect. You go and you jump in and you try it, and it's you either learn and grow or you very quickly discover like this probably isn't for me. I need to stick to my day job kind of thing. So, I mean, the situation will let you know.
Yeah, it's when I look at the podcast too, I realize that I've learned a lot about grief and people's journeys that actually is helping me when I talk about grief with people and their journeys. So it's like before I was like, let's just chat with people and look at their dreams and talk. But actually I'm feeling more comfortable being able to talk to people and understand maybe what they may be going through. Like for prenatal loss is something I didn't have any understanding really about the challenges until talking to some people about it on the podcast. And so I don't know with you, Jade, has it helped your communication style when it comes to talking about grief or asking the questions?
Yes, it's definitely made me more understanding of all the different types of experiences and because you're just kind of viewing the world through your own experiences, your own lenses, and some of those experiences might be similar, and some of them might be completely removed from anything you've even heard of or experienced or anything. So it's such a wide range of how people internalize their experiences and how it shapes them. So I think it's maybe more kind of worldly that way, and a lot more comfortable talking about grief, and a lot more comfortable bringing up the topic of grief dreams and what it looks like to people and how they can help us in our journey. And so that's important. And so I see the value in that. And there's been countless situations since we started doing this that things have come up that I feel more prepared to kind of deal with. Not saying that I know all the answers, but I have a better, more understanding perspective of, how grief impacts our lives.
Do people at your work ever sort of talk about their dreams with you because you're a host of a podcast on dreams?
No.
Oh, they don't, they don't open that door, right?
No, nobody's opening that. Well, I think maybe one person for like all of 2 seconds shared something, but they weren't willing to crack that open. And I don't know if they don't want to mix. Some people are more open-minded than others, which you guys obviously know that. And some people, if they're not quite sure how they feel about it, they might be more reluctant to kind of share it. And I don't know if they're going home and sharing with their sister or whatever that looks like. But in the work setting, there's a little bit, of a wall up. But I'm inquiring. They're just not really showing up to the party. So I'm probably like the annoying person that's like, have you ever had a grief dream like over lunch? And they're like, oh God, I'm just trying to eat my sushi and go back to work. Like, leave me alone. But I want to talk about those things because I like that more than the weather. I like talking about that more than, coffee shop talk. I mean, there's a time and a place for coffee shop talk, but like, I need more. So, thankfully I have you guys in this podcast to kind of satiate that desire. So
Yeah, I had that at my last workplace. And like, I would like people would ask and I would tell them, oh yeah, I have a podcast. Oh, and then they'd even go further and be like, well, what is it? Let me look it up. And then, I wouldn't get any feedback. So I'm like, they're probably not listening. Yeah, I mean, it's odd. I don't really, I don't think too much of it. I just think that, that's just people living their life, and maybe when the time's right, they'll find it themselves. But yeah, it's a weird thing. It was also, maybe I worked with a lot of young people, so maybe they just weren't connected to their stuff yet, connected to grief and all that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think that's a very important piece that you said, that timing is everything, and like the story will open up, if it's meant to, in perfect timing. Like, the people that listen to us they're ready for that conversation. They're interested in that, for whatever circumstances in their life have led them to a place to Google grief dream, or and then or to be more inquisitive when we are talking about it or bringing it up. Or I hand out the business cards and stuff, and like all the time, and sometimes you find them in the garbage and other times people take them home. So it's like, but you can't be hurt of, over that, right? Because it's like, I'm not invested in other people coming, because the ones who are interested and that time is right now, then they're here. So yeah, no pressure.
But it's exciting how there is sort of people that do want to know more. And I know you're doing a talk coming up soon, actually, on grief dreams. So you want to share that? And it wasn't even by your choice, right? Like, someone actually wanted you to do this talk.
Well, I am. When we did that exploring grief dreams workshop last January here in Chilliwack. A lot of people came and a lot of people were interested, and we got some really good feedback on it. So I'm actually going to be doing another, and it's not a workshop, it's more like a seminar, I would call it, but going to be doing one on the 5th of May at Thrive Collective, which is a wellness type agency. They offer clinical counseling and soon to be a massage. And so they host like a variety of kind of workshops and seminars and things of that nature, all kind of centered around health and wellness. So I'm going to be doing a seminar there on the 5th of May from 2 to 4, and it's at Thrive Collective. They have a website, so you can go check it out. And I'll be posting like a poster right away here, and hopefully we can put a link or something, some kind of connection on griefdreams.ca, so that people who are interested and live out here and are in the area can get the information that they want. And tickets are $25, and they're for sale on Eventbrite. And it's actually up and active now. So if you hear this and you want to jump on board, you can just Google Eventbrite, Exploring Grief Dreams, and the page will come right up.
That's amazing. I wish I could go and watch you.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, it's a small group too. We're going to be doing like 14 people, so it's a smaller, and I'd like to keep it, 12 to 14 people. This session will be, so I like that because I feel like at the other one we had 75 or 65, or I don't remember exactly how many people were there, but it was a big group, and we can share a bit and stuff. But I like it to be intimate because I feel like people, when they're comfortable like that, they can just open up more and we can share. And I want it to be really super organic. And so, those are my intentions for the session. So, yeah.
Yeah, I liked how when you were sharing it to me and how you're going to do this talk, that you actually were planning to do a different talk on, I believe, like love or something. And they remembered you from the event. Like one of them, I guess, or a couple of them came to see you talk, and they're like, "Will you do this one?" And you're like, "Well, I guess so." So I can't wait to see all the events you do, and I think this is just going to be the beginning one for you. But you're going to have so many more because I know how much you love to talk about life, overcoming struggles, relationships. You have a vast wisdom on a lot of different subjects in life, and I know this is just a part of it, but it's really cool when people remember you from just that one talk.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the one girl that I actually ran into, she came to the like last year. I think it was like the 3rd of March I did it. So it was like a year ago. But I did a workshop at the cultural center, and it was love after loss. And it was like right after Valentine's Day. A lot of people struggle with, widows or people that are going through a divorce. And it was amazing the people that came out. So anyways, one woman who attended that workshop will be coming to this grief dreams because she was a widow, and she had a dream of her husband, and she didn't share the specifics of the dream, but perhaps I'll get acquainted with her more, during the seminar. But yeah, it's cool, like, just connecting with people, and you never know what they're interested in. And yeah, I love talking about love after loss, and what that looks like. And loss is, death and stuff, but there's all different kinds of loss. People move away, people break up, and there are similarities. I'm not saying a divorce is the exact same thing as, losing your spouse and becoming like a widow, but there are elements that bring up similar emotions and feelings and the way that we cope, and with all of that. So very important stuff, and very close to my heart. And it's my intention that people feel empowered to move forward with their lives regardless of if they've experienced a loss, and just taking something that they currently view as a struggle or a mess, and moving to a place of, I can use this, for something profound. That is my absolute favorite thing in the world, because I mean, what's better than that when you think that it's the end of the road and there's no other place to go, and then alas, there's new doors and more options and upgrades. So it's just really cool, and I'm passionate about it, so can't wait.
Yeah, I think your life experience combined with the knowledge you've gained is it's made you the apt person for something like this, where you can incorporate lots of different topics. You have the ability to talk on a bunch of things, which, again, like you said, grief and loss, it's all related. Love, romantic relationships, even throwing some addiction stuff in there, but it's all that's all life, and it's all related. So, and I think you're great presence, and you're going to bring a lot to the table, and people are going to get a lot out of it because you're also a person that can speak well, and in general, like you're an inviting person. And I think that's the best combination, especially with those type of, yeah. And I love the idea of a small intimate thing, because again, like after kind of going to some of Joshua's talks, I enjoyed the smaller ones because people seem to feel more comfortable to speak out and meet the people next to them and have conversations. And that's really, like, you see in the class, you can actually see people kind of whether it's absorb the material and get something from it, or their just eyes light up, or even just connecting with someone that they never thought that someone would feel the same way that they do. So great idea with the small groups.
Great. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and so all the information, we'll put it under the presentations tab on the website too, so people can find your event right there. Then we're doing one in Toronto for the first time. First time we're doing a talk in Toronto, which is really exciting for me and Sean. We're doing also exploring grief dreams, but we're also doing a live podcast. So that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. It's be a trial run for sure. Because like right now we're in a room, we're just talking, but like when there's people in front of you and you have to get the mic set up, and so that's going to be a fun new challenge for us to be able to do more podcasts, maybe on the go when we travel in front of audiences and stuff. So we're looking forward to that. So that is on April 27th in Toronto. So if anyone's listening is in near Toronto, feel free to come out to that. And we're charging $35 for that, and it's a 3-hour session there. Then we're also, to try to promote Grief Dream some more in Toronto and surrounding areas, we're actually decided to do some promo at some expos. So one of the expos is coming up on April 14th. It's a spiritual expo in Burlington, and that's on April 14th at 1 to 6. And then the other one will be in Toronto, and it's a yoga and wellness show, September 28th and 29th. So all this information will be on the website. But Sean, what do you think? Do you think it's a good idea? You think this is going to attract some new listeners at these expos?
Yeah, I like the expos. There's positive things come from it. We've been to one as a podcast. We went to the Death Symposium in Toronto, and we didn't know what to expect. We went up in there and had our table, had some stuff, but it was really an amazing experience. Just the conversations, people really approached us very genuinely and were curious. And, it's that's the opportunity to really advocate for what you do and have those conversations. And again, just working on those skills that were developed on the podcast, those listening skills and just attentiveness and just general interest in questions. It just happens in real life then at a conference. People, they see the topic, they get excited, and they just think about their own lives and they want to talk. And so me and Josh at that conference, man, it was just like 8 hours a day. We were just constantly talking. Like, we were exhausted at the end, but it was very exhausted, but it was worth it because the richness of the conversations and learning about people and seeing that people needed it. And there was also, like, there's people from all sorts of walks of life, industry professionals, and just the public and what have you. But the ability, the opportunity to be able to advocate for the topic and talk to people about it. So that's why when we thought about it this year, we're like, let's definitely sign up for those conferences because again, you can't really estimate or guess oh yeah, this will bring in this many more listeners or this or that. But I think just in general, just that one-on-one interaction with people is pretty important. And I enjoy that.
You don't know all the seeds you're going to be planting and what that looks like. Like sometimes, I mean, I've done a few expos for my own like work and related stuff, but never like a grief dreams one. But you don't know, people might not be as vocal, so you don't know the seeds you're planting and where those are going. And sometimes they may see you, and it might not be to like a year later till you pop back in their head and stuff. So I don't think any of that stuff is futile. I think just having like a presence and being there, I think is even if you can't quantify kind of, the impact you're having. So good on you guys for going. I wish I could join you in that. I love just seeing people, go through lots of people going through a space, over the course of a day and connecting with the ones you feel drawn to and smiling at the ones that may not, stop. And it's just really good to have that presence and to be there and be open to opportunities and stuff. So it's hard to know what exactly is going to come out of it. But I think being open-minded and just going in a grateful headspace is amazing.
Yeah, and one thing I thought about was also being a different type of vendor. Like when we were there, I would say a lot of people were either selling a product or a service. And whether it's, jewelry, memorial jewelry, or books, or what have you, or methods of healing and therapeutic this and that. But we were unique, and then people would come up to us and say, "Oh, this is different. This is a podcast." Yeah, and then they just again open to talk. But yeah, we could use you because again, to have a third person who can talk it takes that would be great. Give people, they just
Takes
pour in. People just pour
takes
in, and we
yeah.
were literally like had to. We're in the middle of talking to one person, and another person's like lining up behind them. We're like, "Oh, okay, this is great."
And that was at a conference where like there's minimal time before like in between break. And so what's really cool about these expos is that there's no real talks going on. So people have time to actually like speak, and like so they don't feel rushed, I think. And like the spiritual expo, I know they probably get a lot of attention. The yoga and wellness one, I'm really excited for because that's a totally different audience, and it's probably like we're probably the only grief or death thing that's going to be there. I'm guessing for
Yeah, it's different, but I don't know if it's totally different because yeah, who knows with the wellness aspect of it, what that can bring. But I mean, even yoga, this, there's some definite therapeutic aspects to yoga, or some meditative aspects to yoga. And I think it fits, but maybe not as fit, maybe not as directly as death symposium.
Right.
But yeah, I think we fit in there for sure.
Well, they do grief yoga, so that is a thing. So yeah, we do fit in there. It's just going to be interesting to see the reactions of people, and
Yeah.
and I'm guessing most people would have had one too. So it's going to be a surprise for them to even like recognize, oh, and there's a podcast, and so I think we're going to get a lot of conversations surrounding like grief and death that maybe people weren't expecting going into the expo. Yeah. And so I want to thank actually our listeners who donate, because that's how we get to go to these expos and pay for this stuff, because it is expensive. So thank you again for all your donations. And if you do want to donate, if you have $1 or $3 or $5 and you want to donate per month, feel free to do that. We appreciate every penny that comes in. And you can see that information on patreon.com or just on our website under the donate button. So thank you again for all those who do donate and who will in the future. So we good, guys? Is this the end of the podcast or what?
So short, Jade. You got to come back on again real soon.
Well, let's do it. Let's do another one soon. I know there's some other things we want to talk about, and we want to keep the mystery going with the theme of this podcast, and we don't want to reveal all our superpowers. So I think in the spirit of keeping things punchy. Yeah, and we should do another one soon. We should do another update kind of thing, because I do have some other things I'd like to bring up, things that have just happened, grief related stuff and whatever. So yeah, we can pick that up in part 2 and whenever you guys are available.
Yeah, this has been fun. I love the update episodes, just to be able to chat about life and stuff, and we're not interviewing anyone specifically. So it's great. And you said we get a lot of information from you. I'm glad finally you're able to come on and at least tell the people, what you've been up to and what you're doing, that you're still part of the team. And I look forward to, when you get some more time, be able to come back on and do some more interviews for us.
Yes, well, things will. I have 2 big projects that are going to be wrapping up in the next month and a half here. So, perhaps I'll have some more time to dedicate to guests and to updates and just hanging around a little bit more. So that's good. But stay tuned on everything, and yeah, I look forward to whoever's listening to this is interested in the Exploring Grief Dreams thing. Please look for my poster in the next little bit here, information and links on the website, and I can't wait to see you if you want to come out to the session. And thanks guys for having me today. I appreciate you taking the time on your Sunday. I know Sunday is a relaxing day for many of us, and time to get our ducks in a row for the upcoming week. That's what I like to do on Sunday, is just kind of reflect on what my deliverables are and what my intentions are, and and to really just get my head and my body and spirit feeling just really grounded to go into my favorite day of the week, which is Monday.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And yep, that's a great way to end it for sure. Sunday's that day, and it's definitely a restful day for me. Josh knows how much I sleep. All right. Oh, and Jade, is there anywhere where people, your handles and stuff, people can reach you?
Yes, I'm Jade Carling on Facebook if you want to send me a message there. And I also have an Instagram. It's all lowercase, Jade Carling _ JadeKarling _ So you can shoot me a message there or join me on my page. And yeah.
And that book again? What was that book called?
The book is Quiet Mind, Open Heart, and you can find it on Barnes & Noble or Amazon.ca. I also have another book coming out this year in June, and yeah, I'm not going to say everything because I'll save that for the update or the part 2 update episode, but it's a self-guided journal aimed at helping mothers through their journey. So I'll speak a little bit more on that later, and it pertains to grief because there's a section on postpartum and prenatal loss, miscarriage, things like that. So I'm really stoked about it, and we can talk a little bit more about that next time.
Excellent. Big things coming up, and that's awesome. So you can check out our platform at griefdreams.ca for more information on the topic. And like Joshua said, we added a donation button, and there are perks to those who donate. If you have Facebook, you can join the Grief Dreams group. You can share your dreams or hear more dreams of others. We are on Twitter and Instagram at Grief Dreams. And as always, we like to end the show with love and gratitude from us to you.
I have questions. I have introduced myself. You have introduced yourself. This is a very good conversation.